And good morning and good evening, dear friends, wherever you're joining in from. And as Jenny mentioned, thank you for choosing to be with us, right? It's always a choice. There are so many choices that you have, and you chose to be here with us, and we are really, really grateful for this. And as Jenny mentioned, we have, I think she used the right word, joyful speaker, and that's Ananda Karunesh ji. A quick introduction. I don't think most of us would need an intro about him, but most of us know about him. And a very, very quick intro. He's the founder of Path of Joy, which is a non-profit organization. He's a PhD and a professor of finance from Eisenberg School of Management, UMass. And his first book, which is right here, the first book, I don't know if you can see this with the background blurred, but right there you go. The first book, which is The 1,000 Seeds of Joy, was published in 2018. It's a very popular book now, and it's been translated to multiple languages, and it's highly recommended by Patriji. He even referred to this as the Bible for PSSM. But more than all of this is all of his accomplishments and everything else, just a big fan of his presence. Just look at him. So he's an embodiment of his name, which is Ananda and Karuna, which is joy and compassion. Consider him as one of my mentors and a friend. Welcome, Anandji. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Shibuji. Thank you. आपका नाम जेनी है? You are Jenny Shambhala?
Yes.
Actually, it's Janisha.
It is Janisha. We all call her Jenny, our cute little sister Jenny. So, yeah.
I think one thing we should have free will about is, take the name we want.
All right. So let's get started, and Ganeshji. So usually the format is we start with a meditation, usually a 30-minute meditation to start with. And the format of this Infinity platform is that first meditation and then followed by a talk show. So this is more about knowing you as a person, and by talking to you and your life experiences, I'm sure we'll all get a lot of pearls of wisdom, can extract those from you. Thank you so much. In this, hopefully everybody has now come back. In this platform of infinity, you've given us a taste of infinity. This, as you mentioned, the joy merging into love. Beautiful. What a beautiful thing. All right. Wow. Still getting back. So let's start the talk show, Anji. So in your book, you've mentioned about your first Zen experience at the age of 19, right? But let's start even before that, as a small child. I still see that small child in you right now as I look at your face. But that small child, right? The physical age of that small child. How was your childhood as you were growing in Mumbai, or that time, Bombay?
Yeah, thanks for that question. Childhood is actually special for almost everybody.
Yep.
Just two kinds of people. Some people remember their special childhood, other people forget. But generally, it is very special, more special than where we're at.
Absolutely.
But we forget. I will relate an incident about this, how we forget. So long time ago, 20 years ago, I was doing Art of Living, Sudarshan Kriya. And when I was doing Sudarshan Kriya on the third day, this is with Art of Living, on the third day, after having done the Kriya twice, I woke up and I was like in complete joy that, oh my God, this is how I used to sleep when I was a child. It was such a sweet sleep. Do you remember that as children, we used to even look forward to going to sleep also? Because we used to have this memory
getting the
of
goosebumps as you're talking.
Deep sleep. When you wake up, the whole world is new, fresh, right? And I had that experience. And that's when I became a big fan of these kriyas. and I was doing the Sudarshan Kriya for a long time. So what happened there was I had forgotten how we sleep. So if you told me any day that when I woke up before that, I would say I sleep normal. That's how you sleep, right? But when you experience the deep sleep, you go, oh, that's how I used to sleep. So that is how we are with our childhood. We are having normal days, right? Then suddenly you go to a mountain or nature, and suddenly some memory comes of a childhood incident, and that joy rushes in. And then we go, oh, that's how I used to feel. But then we don't give it much thought. We just ignore it and get busy with our lives. So we are cut off from that beautiful dimension of our childhood. And I was lucky, my childhood was fortunately very joyful. I've had some very deep experiences of oneness with the leaves on the road, with the nature, with a very special connection with the trees, which is hard to describe in words, like a deep feeling of going into their roots. And I thought that was normal because I was only 6 years old. That's how everybody feels. That's what we do. That's why we go out all the time. And that's why we want to be in nature. And I always wanted to be outside. And everything would just kind of make me so, give me that feeling of merging with nature. So as I grew older, I realized people are not so crazy about being in nature like I am. So I realized as an 8 or 9 year old, maybe there's a difference. People are not that into, they're more into something like something else. So then I kept growing older. We spent our time in different cities. We were in Durgapur, then we were in Dehradun, where I have the most amazing memories of, that those wonder years that we talk about, the mountains and the trees, and just being on a street also, just going on my cycle or doing whatever, just joy. And then we moved to Bombay when I was 12. So as we grow a bit older, the pressures come in. The parents are also wanting you to have a good career. They have their stress. So studies in a certain way becomes very important. Competition becomes important. Grades become important. All those things start crowding our mind. And as that starts happening, this is a very subtle thing, this infinite presence of joy in our lives, of our soul. So that starts taking, receding. And so with me also, that became a bit less, even though I had a very happy teenage life also. But then when I turned about 18 is when that process happened, which is mentioned in my book, which was a kind of a painful thought looping in. And as it looped in more, the more afraid I became of that thought. And the more afraid I became, the more it looped. And then I was like shocked by it. My body was completely in a shock. My mind was in complete fear of that looping thought, which went on for 8, 9 months. So I read all kinds of religions, all kinds of scriptures, psychology, till I came to a Zen book, The Sound of the One Hand. And that book had paradoxes, and one of them was to eliminate the fear, you turn around and you face it, you look at it. So to eliminate any pain, you just embrace it more, you let it come. It was just one thought, which somehow I did not read it in that way in any of the scriptures. I thought there might be some solution there, because I was very intelligent, rational, but this looping thought was there. Pain comes in 1,000 varieties. Some we know of, some we don't. I don't even know. There might be people in some kind of a mental anguish, pain, which is severe, which I have no clue about. It comes in so many varieties. The suffering is in so many varieties in the world. So, so then in one afternoon, that entire thing was wiped out. And I felt like I'd become, that was like my enlightenment, I felt. Only to realize that is only the very, very first Satori, very first enlightenment in a very long, infinite process that takes years and decades. But to a teenager mind, that was like, oh, I'm so enlightened now. I know the secret. So I became a preacher in my college. I was the one who would say, become one with your fear, surrender to the pain, see the joy. And I had a little following around me. But did not realize that in absence of a guru, that thing takes its own life, starts creating a little ego. You become like a little preacher, and then you want to convince everybody because you've had such a good experience. You don't realize they don't care, they don't give a damn because that's not their experience. So, but still, I would read so much philosophy and so much spirituality that I still had a lot of people who would listen to me because I would then insert. I became like skilled at talking about these things. But later on, I realized when I turned in my 40s that this was a mistake in the sense, if I was in a place like traditional gurukuls, the guru would just tell me to shut up and just watch the process more. Don't talk so much. So which I learned in my 40s, and then I became more silent. But the incredible excitement was so much what had happened to me, how in one afternoon, 9 months of illness had gone away, that I wanted to just tell the whole world. But this is a lesson for all spiritual teachers. When we have an experience of enlightenment, something happens, that's why we're all here, then don't be in such a rush to share your wisdom with the whole world. Make it go a bit deeper first. Really let your body become one with it completely. Don't be in the head about your teaching. Let your body speak. So that was my lesson. But it was a very nice childhood, ending up in this mental process. Then every shred of happiness was gone. And even now I have tears sometimes when I go to those moments of my childhood, how I used to feel that oneness. So I can suddenly go into that place and as they say, all spiritual gurus say, that enlightenment is becoming like a child's mind, beginner's mind, where there are no concepts, no beliefs, no thoughts. Infinity is open to you. It actually feels infinity. Like as a child, when you're on the 10th floor and you're looking down, you really feel, oh my God, I'm so high up. You can feel the height. As an adult, when you look from the 100th floor, you look down, you go, that's just, nothing, it's okay, you just make it very normal. So you stop feeling the infinity of space, of time also. Summer vacation used to be so long as a child. A day used to be so long. Now Christmas comes, another Christmas comes. For a lot of people, time just flies because we've lost the sense of spaciousness, the sense of time, the depth of time. But I had, fortunately, all of that in my childhood.
Oh, very profound, deep experience. And I can totally imagine you being very popular in your college days, with all that experience and everybody coming around you. I think life was preparing you for now, right? Even now you have a lot of fan following. And
Now I
I'm
try
just,
to avoid being in the limelight. We have Devi circle and we have Devi teachers, and I'm in the background. We're always having the women teachers in the front. Our path is a bit different. It is not to create a, following
right.
around one guru.
I,
That's not the path.
Yeah, I know. Even in your website, I saw your name was the last one in your own website with all the after the Devi teachers. Totally,
Yeah.
and I can totally see that in you. It's just a joke, but I can totally that childhood experience was so profound, Anji, and I think I can also relate to that. Where as a child, I didn't need a reason to be joyful. Just keep me somewhere. I just stay somewhere. I'm naturally joyful, right? That was a state. It was not a separate thing. And then we started going out, and then we started looking for triggers to be joyful. I have to do this
Yes.
to become joyful, do that to become joyful. And I can see myself going through that process. And we then just started doing things to make parents happy. Otherwise, it was just, I mean, parents as in not their fault at all. We can totally see that now, but it's such a profound thing, as you said. I was just reliving my childhood and the way I was feeling that natural state of joy. So yeah, thank you so much. Um, so yeah, just moving on, the Zen experience in 19, which is profound, right? As you said, a series of enlightenment steps, but it's a starting step. So having that sort of an enlightenment awakening, or whatever you want to call that, right, at the age of 19, how did that shape your, the adulthood, I would say, right? 19, and I believe from the book, I remember it as 44 being the next milestone age. So from 19 through 44, how did that all pan out? Were you, how, how did that all happen, right? Were you detached? What happened to you in those years?
So, yeah, this is what happens when we go through a severe experience like this.
Mhm.
What ends up happening is that it affects everything. So, what do we do at 19? We are thinking about a career, about, the relationships become important. You want to have a girlfriend, all those things are there, right? So, but your perspective on everything is in the background, this experience is shaping it. So I got my master's degree. I went to the US at 22 years of age. And then I wanted to feel what I want to do at 24 after my MBA. So I could have, I did apply for some Wall Street jobs, and then applied for some academic, then I thought, do I want to really do this? I mean, I heard about all this was 1987. These were the days of Wall Street and all of that. What IT is today, and apps and IT and all of that for young people, that time it was Wall Street. So, but then I was like, these people have such busy lives, and I like to meditate. So I decided against it. I decided to do a PhD. Then after the PhD also, there were some opportunities to go in the investment banking world because I was very good with numbers. I still am. I still publish a lot, in research and all that, but that doesn't take that much time. That was a natural gift I had with mathematics. So, and it came easy to me, so that was the easiest career for me because don't have to study, just do the math, and you know, and then so it saved me time. That's why I did it. It was, and I liked it. So I took a job as a professor because you get much more freedom.
Yep.
You teach your classes, you can meditate. So it is affecting my choices. Suppose this illness had not happened, and I was like with everybody else, I was also chasing the dreams of materialism. Then I would get a Wall Street job, get very busy, get very sick, would get very stressed, and have a very normal life. But this allowed me to create spaces, as they say, even in autobiography of a yogi, Larry Massey and these people, have be a householder also and do meditation also. But the modern world doesn't allow that. Even in his days, it was easy. But modern world with the pressures to succeed, we get so busy that, as we were talking also, Shibuji and I,
Yep.
that
Yep.
good jobs can be, either you work under high pressure and have great performance, or you don't do a job, but in the middle, If you're just wanting to do like a normal job performance in modern capital markets, it is hard because people want overachievers all the time. And we pay for that, people who don't have a regular 9 to 5 and they will, work at midnight. And so life is such that it'll give you all these kind of enticements to ignore your body, ignore your meditation, to get a very busy job just to make some more money. And that happens to a lot of people, and then they realize. So that did not happen to me. I kind of remained sort of somewhat distant with my job and always in my meditation practice. So I was a professor, and that happened on the side, but I had a very, more than half of my commitment was always to meditation, to workshops. So from 19 to 44, I read a lot of spiritual books. I read all the Krishnamurti books because his insight had really helped me. And there was an insight about death. So at 19, the insight was about pain, but with Krishnamurti, the insight was about death. So I was again going in some kind of a, stressful time with my mind, and then this insight came about death. Become death, accept death, completely know that death is real and surrender to that. And as you completely go surrender to death, something profound happens. So a lot of times there's some mild fear of death that's in the background. So it's good to visualize death, that you will leave, each one of you will leave the body. And it's not happening, time is also, we think there's a lot of time. Imagine it's happening tomorrow. What would you do today if you're dying tomorrow? So live as if, Krishnamurti would say, live as if you're dying every minute, Each minute is a gift, and then go so deep into death. So that happened with Krishnamurti, Jiddu Krishnamurti. And so I read all his books, and I would read all the spiritual books. At the time, Osho was also, a lot of books were out by him, and there were other teachers. So, and then I would do workshops like Art of Living and this and that. And then at 44, as I was each year, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, I was physically very sick throughout my 20s. Very sick. And that was the biggest gift in terms of my insights. So I would go into, at night, sometimes I would have this experience of coming out of my body with some process that would start in the body, and then a hand would come and put me back in the body with amazing bliss. So something would happen as if I'm getting out of my body, and this hand would come and I'm back in the body with complete bliss. That bliss would heal me, like whatever was happening for 2-3 days, I'm just in a very nice place. But the body had become sick because of when I was 18, the mental process was so strong, it had affected all the body. So body has memory, even though I felt that enlightenment. Again, the wisdom from a guru's point of view, if I was in a gurukul, they would say, yeah, your mind knows, your body does not know yet. Your body is still in pain, they would say. You think you are not, but your body, cells, memory, it has gone everywhere. So you have to go deep in the body. And that's why that sickness happened, physical sickness, to make me realize that the body still has all that pain. Even though I don't feel it, my mind doesn't have it, 9 months of intensity will store the pain in the body. For a lot of people who've been through traumas, if you've come out of trauma, still keep doing work on your body, because that trauma still sits in your body, in your primal brain, in your cells. That's why breath is very important. Go deep in the surrender with breath, and really with 1,000 Seeds of Joy, body is such a big part of the path. The mind has to dissolve in the body. You have to become the body, completely become the body. And that will happen only when thinking completely slows down and you go through these blissful moments, and then you get that bliss in touch with the pain that still is in the body. You join them. Bring the joy into the trauma. A lot of people carry trauma. Bring the joy into the trauma. Slowly, slowly, then the trauma in the body will dissolve. So yeah, that happened from 19 to 44. And at 44 also it was not complete. Some more dissolved even after 44. But that's when I was blessed with Lakshmi ji came into my life, and then the new path began.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful face. And, I remember that you're talking about the mind and the body, right? From the book, I remember what the goddess had mentioned, right? It's a profound moment for me when I read that the mind being a small iceberg floating in the vastness of a giant lake. So all our philosophy, when you keep reading it, we talk about the various phases of the mind, and the mind to visualize it as an iceberg floating on a giant lake of body sensations. It was like a beautiful, aha moment for me too when I read that. Really amazing. It just puts everything into perspective, and body being the connection to the soul feelings. Yeah, thank you.
That was profound. That's why enlightenments are many levels. Even though I thought I knew so much, even starting from 18, read so many books, but this came from Saraswati ji.
Yep.
That mind has to dissolve in body sensations, and that's a profound path. A lot of religions don't give justice to the body. Like they ignore the body, or body is like an impediment. You just want to go to the soul. At this time, in this changing of yuga, what's happening, we're not trying to get out of the body and go into the soul. No, we're trying to get our soul into the body. That is the entire purpose of being on earth, to bring the heaven on earth, not to escape from earth and go to the heaven. So we're all trying to get the soul into the body, the infinity into the body. Body is like, you got to cherish the body. Body is your way. Soul, you already were in the soul before you came into the body. If you had to just be the soul, you could have remained in the heavens, be the soul, right? But there is some secret of transformation of the universe that happens when the energy transforms the physicality. That's the entire process of spirituality. And so the soul coming into the body, and so really what should you say, honoring the body as a temple. That's the way.
Yep, it was profound in early days, reading all the books and everything. It was all about, as you said, body was given absolutely no importance at all, right? It was always, coming out of that body consciousness, and the body itself was being confused, right? The body consciousness and the body. So it was, thankfully, now all this new wisdom is coming and we're getting to know all of this, and body is again given that importance, right? Whether it is vipassana or anything, any of the practices where, we are asked to be with the body sensations, and being the teacher itself is very profound. Right, so as you mentioned, the Thousand Seeds of Joy, the book, but before that, the channeling happened with the goddesses, Lakshmi Devi and Saraswati Devi. So did you have to prepare yourself for that, or is it something that just organically happened? Just kind of curious about that experience and how it kind of all unfolded.
So this began, as the book says, with my collaborator. Her name is Jade Devi Kamla.
Yep.
And some people are born with a huge third eye open. And she had that gift. And that gift itself is not spirituality. As you know, many people have that gift, right? But spirituality is more about surrendering to the lower chakras and dissolving them. That gift is in the higher chakra, third chakra, with the third eye. So we were talking one day, and she said something like, I can channel goddesses also. And I was like, really? I don't believe you. I was like, who can channel goddesses? She said, I can. I do get this feeling. So then I said, okay, let's do a session. So we invited Lakshmi ji, and I said, Lakshmi ji and Vishnu ji, I want to channel. So Lakshmi ji came and she spoke for half an hour. And she said many things. Some are in the book, some are not there. It was a very personal conversation for half an hour. And at the end of the half an hour, I was so convinced, and I knew this will just completely change my life. She had mentioned a few things, how I had worked with her in previous lives and the path together. And it was a very, if you can feel like your mother's love, a very loving mother's love, and you can multiply that 100 times, that's the kind of love I felt. And it was from a voice of not like a motherly figure, because Lakshmi ji has a younger energy, right? So it was like a very divine love, like a mother, my bestest of bestest friend, something like that, It felt like so close and so deep and so wise and so nurturing, that half an hour, that I was like, wow. And then we started channeling more with her. And as a philosopher I was, most of the time we would channel about these questions that I would have. So 1/3 of the book, 1,000 Seeds of Joy, that is based on those questions with Jade Devi. And then the idea came later of a book, because we were asking so many deep questions. So one day we had the idea, me and Jade, hey, this can become a book, because we have so much philosophical knowledge here. That was not the intention when we began. It was mostly to talk to Lakshmi ji and, just feeling the joy of what she's saying. So we both thought of that, and one day we both told her, yeah, we were thinking of a book. And literally, she started clapping and jumping, and we think goddesses don't do that, but they can, sometimes, if that is their path. So she was clapping. She was like, this is what she wanted us to come to realize. She didn't want to say it. So we came to our soul path by that thought that we want to do a book. So then we started channeling more, and then in 2012, my father suddenly passed away, and something shifted as I would be editing the book. A lot of wisdom started coming. So the entire Saraswati ji part came after that, and 2/3 of the book came after that. Then it came through me more. And Jade got a little busy with Western goddesses, that she's supposed to do a book with Mother Mary. Should have come out by now. I'm not sure where she's at. So Western goddesses, and I started focusing on Eastern goddesses. And so then, and it was kind of personal too. Lakshmi ji would tell me, there was a time when she would just want me to go to one retreat after another. I'll go here, now go to Costa Rica, now go there, just meditate. And there was also a period where I thought I was ready, we were ready to publish the book. That was in 2013 only. So I'm talking about publishers, and she's, kind of like, whatever. And then she says, for 1 year, take the book. I don't know whether I have a copy of the book here. Not here. But take the book, hold it in your backpack, keep it in your backpack when you're going to these retreats, different places. And it was not the book I have now, it was more of a PDF copy. And don't open it, never open it for 1 year, because I was editing it. And simply feel its energy. Keep it next to you, keep it in your backpack, and just meditate. And I was like, that was like the last thing I wanted to do, because I wanted to edit it and I wanted to publish it. She says, no, the time is not here yet. You will know the time. So that's what I did for a year. And magically, that was one of the best years of my life. Just like those of you who feel that you have to read the book, maybe sometimes you don't know the language and you can't. The book has so much energy that if you were to just keep it around you and just feel the divine connection with Lakshmi ji, Saraswati ji, that can change your life. Because the energy is energy. It doesn't need thinking. It doesn't need wisdom. It will come into your body. Of course, it's better if you can read it. But that was what she was trying to, she was communicating to me, that feel the energy of the book. Don't go just by the words. Because I was very insistent about, see, when goddesses channel, they're still using the human brain. So they're still using our grammar.
Yep.
Because our brain is working. So the grammar is, if I make a mistake in a certain way in my grammar, that will come through. The slight filter will come through. So I was trying to edit the grammar. And I would get very this has to be like perfect sentence, like how. And Jade had a way of making certain errors, and I had in certain grammar. So I said, this cannot be true. And we cannot publish like that because people think they don't even write the English properly. Who's going to read the book? So that was a conversation that was going on. And that's when Lakshmiji said, okay, take the book, put it in your backpack, forget all this grammar and all this, just feel the energy for a year. So I just felt the energy for a year, and that was a transformative year. And after that, I came to the book with a very different energy. Then it was more, not so much stuck on this, that, but more about, more purity, about the energy, not so much with what's right, what's wrong, but, do I feel the energy always? And that's what my invitation is to everybody. Feel the energy of the words. Don't think too much. Let the words first sink in. Feel the energy. After you've spent that moment and time, then think about what you experienced. Don't immediately start thinking, oh, what is this? What is that? That's not how to read this book.
Yeah, I think exactly as you mentioned, right? The very first time I heard about you and the book was in early 2020. And at that time, I had the same thing which you were talking about, right? When you were talking to Jade Devi. Does goddesses talk? Is that even real? Is that even possible? Like, can we talk to goddesses? Do they talk to us? So because of the conditioning we had about goddesses being so distant and we have to pray and it is always that kind of conditioning, I was not really open to it at all. And then I attended that Zoom session. I think it was March or April in 2020, where, that your presence, that kind of opened me up. And then I was open to your words. But it's profound. I mean, this was before the time I started reading about Jane Roberts and the Sage. So I was totally new to this concept. I didn't know about this, but it's profound. The question I wanted to ask is, did you face similar skepticism from people when we, talk about talking to the goddesses, the wisdom coming from goddesses, where there are judgments, skepticism from folks? Because this is that kind of a book, right?
It's very much there in the sense the same wisdom can be presented without the goddess word, packaged in a more secular way with a big publisher, and you remove all of that. And there's a market for that in the Western countries. And they'll go, aha, wow, what great wisdom. I mean, this is how it works, And they'll start opening up to all the wisdom. But their minds are so closed with the ideas of divine beings that as soon as that comes, they will not read it. And that's not just true about some Western countries, also true about certain places in India, where it could be even simple Buddhist mindset. In Buddhism, if you really read the scriptures and take it too seriously, there are no gods, goddesses, there's only Buddha, right? So when something like this comes, they just go, oh, no, this is all Hinduism, So our beliefs are so strong that it is true. But I did not face that because the people who opened up to the book were so many, right? I mean, there are 8 billion people on earth. So the people who've opened up to the book are also, it's slowly increasing, but there are also many. We've Patriji opened up to it, and the whole PSSM community opened up to it, and the whole Devi Circle movement with the Divine Feminine and all of the women. There's so many women who opened up to it. We have 6,000 women in the WhatsApp groups that, many of them sign up for our workshops. So there's plenty of people who are open to it also. But yes, it is true. A lot of people are skeptical about divine beings talking to you, but it's not stopping our path. This year we're going to grow a lot, and slowly, we're not saying this is the only way, but and this in the new way, you don't say this is the only way. Lakshmi ji doesn't say my way is the only way. Saraswati ji is also there, and they don't say our way is the only way. Mother Mary is also there, right? So the goddess path is to bring it all together, different dimensions of energies, how to work with each other. And we right away, that's why my path also, I don't say, I am the founder, I'm the teacher. No, I'm the co-founder. We're leading it together. The Devi teachers are also as, embodied. We're recently, I should mention her name, we're working with one Devi teacher, Sunita Desai, and she channels Mahavatar Babaji every day at 3 a.m. And, we do Devi Kriya, which is a breath process I channel with Goddess Parvati. And so after the Devi Kriya, she channels Babaji, and it's profound. It is like one of the most profound healing happening on planet Earth at the moment in that group. So she's an amazing teacher. So that way there are many teachers who are coming together, and that's the matriarchal way. The problem happens when the same problem that happened to me when I was 19, and I got that insight and I started preaching, right? This is the way, this is the only way, right? So gurus, what happens is a big insight happens. They have some enlightenment, and then they start going around, this is the way, right? And every guru starts their way because some insight happened, and this is the way. But if they had a higher guru who they were in touch with, they would know there are other things happening too here. It's multidimensional. So don't make it so narrow. Like some teacher came, and in Jainism, body became like a impediment in Jainism. So you don't feed the body, you don't, you try to rise above the body and all of that. Okay, there are some teachers like that, and that became the path, but there are other ways. There are many paths, Vajrayana Buddhism, mindfulness, the goddess path, where body is the way to enlightenment, right? So we should all try to be humble. As spiritual teachers, even if we get a following, be humble. There's always more wisdom. And I can't tell you the goddesses, the kind of, even with some of the wisdom that is coming in the next book, Parvati ji, that even the highest teachers on planet Earth can learn. Not from our path, but if they connected to divine beings, even the highest teachers, there's nobody who really knows it all. The highest teachers also, there's so much more to learn because it's truly infinity opening up to finite, right? So even if you're a very high teacher, you're still in the finite 3D space. So if you open up more, there's even more amazing wisdom coming. So all have to be humble, and we all have to go together. And that energy is what we hope with Devi Circle, that we're all open to receiving wisdom, and anybody can give you that seed of wisdom. Right now, Jenny Shambhala can say something, a sentence, and that could go very deep in my heart, and I might go, oh, thank you. That can happen. It can happen at any moment with any teacher, so we all should be open to receiving wisdom.
Absolutely. I know we are almost getting time, but I have so much more to ask you. I don't know if I can ask this, but I just want to ask. I personally truly believe that you're an embodiment of your name, which is the Ananda and the Karunesh, right? The joy and the compassion. How did you get that name? Is it something which was given? I mean, it's totally okay if you don't have to answer that. So
So yes, so I was resonating with these words, And it was a very funny combination because Karunesh is normally a first name. It's
Yeah.
not a last name, right?
Out.
But it was just coming in my heart that compassion itself is misunderstood. A lot of times it is understood as feeling the pain of the other and continuing to feel the pain. That's not compassion. Compassion is becoming aware of the pain, but not staying in, not becoming codependent, not becoming their pain. A lot of people, they will, in relationships or in family, they will take each other's pain and they think that is compassion. That's not compassion. True compassion is coming back to yourself and feeling the energy and giving that feeling of infinity on their suffering to help relieve it, to bring them more into joy. Even when somebody dies, the goddesses say initially it's important to go through the sorrow, but soon you have to go into the energy of gratitude. So if you're interacting with somebody who lost a loved one, yes, hold them, use body language, give them, that feeling of comfort. But if they stay in that pain after a year, 2 years, then it is if you want to be truly compassionate, start sharing them, the importance of gratitude for that person's life and feeling the joy for that. Because feeling the joy in that gratitude will open you up to their soul. If you're in sorrow, the soul cannot talk to you because soul is in a higher dimension of joy, right? So the only way to reach to the soul is you have to go to gratitude, you have to feel joy about their life, and then you can receive messages, right? So that compassion has to come from joy. And I resonated so deeply that one day I was like, this is what I want my name to be, this. So then I asked Lakshmi ji, and she loved the idea. She said yes. So then we made it Ananda Karunesh because
And why that order, Mamaji? That's what I wanted to know. Why that order? Because I also felt exactly as you said, right? The gratitude to compassion and then the infinite joy, right? Yeah, that's how. But why Ananda Karunesh?
So actually, it's the joy which is first, which is the primordial soul feeling. It all begins with joy. Then as that bliss, that joy starts becoming finite, then it becomes not finite, it reduces its infinity, which is not finite. It could still be infinity, but it's less of infinity. Then it gets these flavors, love, compassion, gratitude. These are all flavors of that bliss, that primordial joy, right?
Yep.
So joy is more primordial, more fundamental. Compassion without the joy would mean codependence, you're feeling their suffering, It
Yep.
could be how we become serious with them because they have suffering, so we also become serious because we think we're being loving to them. That can also be called compassion, right? And people do call it compassion, but a compassion coming from joy. Me as reminding you that, hey, wake up, have some gratitude for this loved one you lost. They are wanting to be with you, and your sorrow is stopping them. Can you feel happiness about what they did for you in your life and the moments you spent? Can you just go, forget that they died? Can you just for a moment go to that past and start feeling happy that the time you spent with them? Feel that joy? And try to get that more in your energy. Then you will open up the door to completely dissolving your suffering. My mother is a great example. She lost my father suddenly. Morning he was walking, and then evening he was gone, right? Sudden. And I had this wisdom by then. And so slowly I got her into this, if you want to experience him more, his soul, you have to just reflect on all of the great moments you've had with him all your life. And she had a marriage of 53 years. And just be in that gratitude of all the loving time spent with him. The more you do that, more your suffering will dissolve, the more you'll feel connected. Now she's so connected with him, she doesn't miss him. And this is a story in Thousand Seeds of Joy also with Buddha and Yashodhara.
Yep.
He left and they felt so connected, then she was not missing him after 2 months. It was all, So there's a way in the infinite soul to remain connected, and all of that can happen. The beginning is with joy. So that's how the name came, Ananda Karunesh. Could have been Karunesh Ananda also, but then that would mean that there's a slight emphasis on, energizing yourself with gratitude, the joy of gratitude, and then compassion happens.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Very, very profound. So my last question, because I have a lot more questions, I'm not going to go into that because of the time. But one last thing I want to ask is, I know you mentioned about the primordial joy, but most of the time, most of us are not in that state, right? So can we choose joy? Is that a choice we have? Is joy a choice?
Yes. Joy is completely a choice if the mind will choose breath and body over incessant thinking. Thinking is not the way to get out of thinking. Thinking is not the way of getting out of suffering, right? It'll just continue. So if you want to really make the leap, surrender to your breath, surrender to your body, feel the body sensations, bring whatever joy you feel, bring it into the painful body sensations of memories, of actual physical pain, whatever. Keep bringing that soul into the body. And if you do that, then joy is a choice. But you cannot choose it just from the mind.
Yep.
The body, soul have to help you.
Yep.
You have to surrender to some yoga, some kind of body practice, breathing, something. If you don't do any of that and just go, I'm choosing joy as a choice. And today I'm going to have a joyful day. But you're not aware of your body. You're just in the head. You're talking to everybody. I'm choosing joy. And you're even forgetting to breathe when you're getting angry, not doing any of that, then you cannot choose it.
Absolutely, because it's easy to remind yourself in the morning that you have to be joyful, but when you're in that situation, it doesn't really come, right? You are in there, you're stuck in there. Yep.
Yeah. So in those stressful moments, remember, you can sit back, breathe.
Yep.
Take a few deep breaths, energize. But the way our systems are set up, we never encourage that. We never tell a company person, you've come from traffic, sit down properly, ground yourself, take a few deep breaths, then come to the meeting. We come rushing to a meeting and everybody's shouting at each other because, everybody is in that, mind space. And we start off misunderstanding each other. You came to a 9 o'clock meeting, everybody 5 minutes, just sit down. Just relax, just breathe deeply. Look at each other. Now let's have a meeting. That meeting will go 100 times better. Because just that 5 minutes will change the energy. And then we want to collaborate, then we want to find a creative solution. A lot of fights happen because we reach the impossible.
Yep.
Person A says, this should be done. Person B says, this should be done. And contradiction. But creativity happens only when there are contradictions. Only when there's no impossible. That's when, So necessity is the mother of invention, right? When you really, really have to solve something that cannot be solved, that's when creativity happens. So if they were to breathe together and come together, then they would come up with a creative solution. Hey, we can do this third way, And that they don't do. And that's why a lot of companies go down.
Very profound. I think this should go into the corporate training as we are evolving, right?
Yeah.
This should get into that 5 minutes of profoundness, right? Because I can totally relate to that. In that background, right? Just rush into the meeting, everybody transfers stress to everybody else. It's in a really stressful environment. And then you're already thinking about the next meeting. You're sitting in this meeting, but you're already thinking about the next one. It's kind of continuous loop. Very profound, and Karunesh. We already had time. I had planned about want to talk to you about the divine feminine, the masculine, and all of that. I don't think we have time enough for all of that in this particular meeting, but we'll get to that. But I also want to open it up. If you can, please, do you have a few more minutes, Ananda Karunesh?
Oh, sure. Questions? Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, I'm just going through the questions, Jenny. So I know Rajini had asked about how can we be part of that group, right? This is the time when you were talking about the Devi Circle, and there's a teacher which channels Mahavatar Babaji, right? And she wanted that information, and she wants to learn Devi Kriya, just like most of us. It seems like a profound practice. And now, how do we get that information? Something from your website?
Yeah, so I will send you some links,
Yep.
and with those links, you should be able to, both Devi Kriya
Yep.
and to the 3 a.m. sessions. Yeah.
Yep.
Is this person in any of our Devi Circle groups?
Rajni ji, if you want to raise your hand, we can just unmute you and you can speak. Are you
If
in
you're
the
in
call
any of
right
our
now?
Devi Circle groups, that information is coming anyway to everybody, to 6,000 people is going out. But I'll share it with you, Shibu ji.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
I will share with we'll share with the group. All right. There's a couple raised hands. Rekha ji will unmute you.
I see Rajni.
Go ahead, madam.
I see Rajni as
Hello, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I'm Nalini Kamal here. And Namaskar Karunesh ji. I have taken Devi Kriya, a lot of sessions through, I'm forgetting her name, who lives in Bombay.
Veeni Mansata. Her name is Veeni Mansata.
Veeni Mansaka. Yes, yes, yes. Wonderful teacher she is.
Yes.
Thanks to you who created all this. So, I wanted to know one thing.
I'll show you
I-
guys later.
I-
He has some fruits. Yeah. So my plan is to get a new rug. Like that's priority number 2. But maybe priority number 3. Because I just feel like it needs a non-dark rug.
Can you, I
there's
think
someone
they're
else
talking
speaking.
over each other, right? Multiple talks.
Getting the
Yeah.
shelving ordered.
You may want to mute everybody and then unmute her.
I'll do.
Is there anybody else? I think I've muted.
muted.
Yeah, I think we should be good.
Start with
Rajni ji, are you
Rajni.
okay? I think you might have gotten muted again. I've unmuted you.
Okay.
Go ahead, madam.
Yeah, namaskaram. Thank you for the wonderful session. Like I asked in the question, I wanted to know a little bit more how to join that Devi Kriya, learn the Devi Kriya. And as Anandji was saying, I'm not in any of those groups. So how do I join the WhatsApp group? Or
Yeah. So I'll send some links to Shibuji and he will forward them to you because he's the... basically, if you go on devicircle.org,
okay,
devicircle.org, so there we mention all our upcoming workshops.
okay,
And there you can also, I think there is a email info@devicircle.org. You can write to that, but we'll send it directly directly through Shibu.
okay. That sounds good. Thank you very much. Thanks for the amazing meditation. Always enjoy your sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi.
Rekha ji, I'm unmuting you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sir, I really wanted to know one thing, Karunesh ji. When it will come in Hindi?
That's a great question. So, it's been a little bit of an issue with translation. So we've had a few attempts, but they have been a bit literal. And I'm still waiting for a translation that conveys the energy, the feeling. So, for example, excuse me, if there is a word like fertile ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sowing seeds of joy in the fertile ground of your consciousness, right? Now, if you say fertile ground in Hindi, it'll be like upjau jameen, right? But we don't use that in Hindi, right?
Mm.
We don't say khushi ke beej se upjau jameen banao. We just don't talk like that, right? So there are many of such metaphors in the book. Now, the person who's doing the translation, and I'm not such an expert in Hindi, they have to be a bit connected to the goddess.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to sometimes just change the metaphor or use another sentence that is also inspired by the goddess. So the Hindi book has to be slightly different by definition,
Correct.
because we don't use the same metaphors in the two cultures, and it won't have that simplicity. And that has not happened yet, unfortunately, but it's happening. There are some translations people are doing. I'm kind of rejecting many of the translations because they are not accurate.
Okay.
And as soon as an accurate translation comes, then we will release it to you.
Okay. Then maybe I can help you out with the translator. I'll send you
Okay.
her name and her phone number also. I do have your number. Yeah.
Sure.
I have
Looking
talked to you
forward
1-2
to,
times. Yes.
yeah. There are three requirements for the translator.
Mm-hmm.
One, some connection with the goddess, some. It doesn't have to be
Yes.
so profound that she's
She
getting.
does have connection with
Yeah,
goddess.
that is
Yes.
important.
Yes.
Second, the Hindi and English both have to be good, that she can understand the
Yes.
metaphors in
Yes.
both.
Yes.
And
Yes.
third, the empowerment to know that I can change this also. We are not
Mm-hmm.
so stuck on, oh my God, you changed this sentence, how dare you, like you changed my book. No, 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 that's not the energy. This is a matriarchal world, here you're also connected to the goddess. And if you think this sentence doesn't work in Hindi, talk to Lakshmi ji, get another sentence that will fit.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the true spirit of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Not that we want to do literal translation. There is nothing such as literal translation in languages. If you translated Chinese literally into English, it's complete nonsense. I've read paragraphs with Chinese literally translated word to word. You cannot understand hero tail out of it. You cannot figure out what is it. So it cannot be done that way. And that's been a little problem with this book with so many metaphors.
I will try to help you out.
Yeah.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Yeah.
You have
Thank
the
you so
same
much,
number, sir?
Rekha.
Excuse me, you have the same number, sir?
Same number of what?
2 years back mobile number?
Oh, yeah. You can WhatsApp
Okay.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on that same
Okay.
note.
I will do it. Thank you. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Ragati, and thanks for offering the help as well, which is great. All right, so
Yep.
there is a question from the chat, sir, it's from Rashmi. Two words from the book which connected to me are the primordial joy and emptiness. So how important is emptiness within us for experiencing joy?
Yeah, if somebody said those are the two most important words, they already are feeling the merging. The more empty you are, the more primordial joy you will feel. The more primordial joy you want to feel, more emptiness you have to create. They go together. They are the head and the tail of the same coin, right? So ultimately, the same energy is called emptiness bliss. So you can feel it in the room where I am. I was so present, and now this light is coming from behind, so I'm dissolving, and you can feel the light here. I'm just using that as a metaphor, but
No, I know.
the joining of emptiness bliss.
Yep.
As you dissolve more, the light shines more as it's happening from behind.
Yep.
So, and that which is that emptiness bliss is that state of ultimate beingness. So any one word is not enough. Primordial joy is not enough. That's not what it is. Emptiness is not enough. That is not what it is. But it's a joining of those to feel the mind completely emptying of emotions, beliefs, thoughts, your judgments, expectations, all of those, things that grab you thinking wise, empty, 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 empty. And then the soul starts coming with the breath more in the body. And then the joy and emptiness start merging. So the two things that you discovered, you are exactly right. Merge the two, and that's the path.
Beautiful. Thank you so
Primordial
much.
joy and emptiness. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Anandji. So I think that's pretty much it. I don't see any more questions, right, Jenny? No more questions which we have missed in the chat. I don't see any more raised hands.
Right.
So one last thing. I mean, it's to the participants. I'm pretty sure you all enjoyed it. The presence and the words and the wisdom. So this is the book, 1,000 Seeds of Joy. If you haven't yet read this,
You have to hold it a little bit back because of your
You cannot see it.
focus.
yeah, I know. I'm
Maybe
sorry.
exactly at your level of your shirt, then they'll see
Yep,
it.
there you
Now
go, right on my heart.
right in your heart.
Right in the heart. So get this book, please, and read it. It would be such a gift to yourself, is what I would say. Because I was taking a lot of time reading each and every line because it had to sink in. Because it was not a book. It's not a book which you can just read through and just get it off your checklist. Something which has to sink in, or those lines have to, to meditate on this. So get this book. Give yourself this gift if you haven't yet gotten it. That's all I would say. And Anand, it's always a pleasure. You know this. Anytime spending time with you, talking to you, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shibuji. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, everybody.
With this, I'm actually transferring it back to Jenny, so she can,
Before we
take us
close
through.
the session, sorry, I would like, because this session was the thought of Sharma sir, so we like to hear from him. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Ananda Karunesh ji. Thank you so much. Thank you. It is a great session. So I live in Dallas. So last year in May, you came to Dallas
Yes.
to our Breath Awake event. And Shibu was there. Shibu was one of the important person there organizing it, running it. And you came to Divya's house later on, and so got an opportunity to interact with you. But of
Yes.
course, you met so many people, so you may not remember the face. That is fine.
I think
so
I
just
remember.
want-
I think I do. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, just wanted to ask one quick question. So we are trying to build a mega pyramid in Dallas area. So taking Patriji's vision of the pyramid Jagat. So we are building pyramids. So one is coming up in Dallas, and one is also coming up in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I wanted to ask a quick question. I don't want to take much time. So did you got any insights about the pyramids from in Mother Saraswati or Lakshmi ji? Any just a curious thing.
It's a very good point you're asking. What's the wisdom connected to pyramid? So what happens is these shapes and these structures, like think of a boat, a large ship, right? They have a certain shape, right? If I make a ship like a box, and I put rooms over there, and I float that box in the water, that box will go right at the deep bottom of the ocean. It's not going to be a ship, right? But if I curve it like this, what happens? It displaces enough water that the water around can keep it lifted. It's the physics,
Right.
Physics of the shape, right? So if it happens in physics, just with a simple boat going on the ocean, then why can't it happen that certain ways of conserving energy will connect you to the infinity? It's possible, right? So pyramid is that way that the rooting, the grounding is the earth, And the ascension, the energy, and coming in that way, it allows, the earth energy to connect with the heavens, because when you're meditating, the energy will accumulate, it'll focus, and boom, then you're creating like a connection. Sometimes have you felt when you live in a small room versus a big house, the small room is more joyous because your own energy stays conserved in that room and you can energize it. But energizing a big house is difficult. So you might have had some of the happiest moments living in a small room sometimes and not a big house because your energy truly conserved. So pyramid is a portal like that. So are other portals. Other portals can be swastika, shivling. You can have, all of these are different portals to meditate upon. And, sun, the star, whatever. But pyramid is also an important one. And I think Patriji does come from the ancient times, where he must have had some role in building those Egyptian pyramids. So, that's also part of his soul path. So that's what I would say. It basically connects us to the different systems, star systems, heavens, by focusing the energy.
Yeah. Thank you for the insights.
Allows you to meditate. And meditation, because that infinity opens, the meditation can be deeper.
Yeah, great. Thank you for the insight into that one. So we named that pyramid that is coming up in Dallas as Omega Pyramid. And the Raleigh, so it is a Shambhala Pyramid. So these two are in pipeline right now. So thank you so much.
I see Omega Sharma, but I'm not seeing Shambhala last name. I'm still seeing Shibu. How's that?
It's who we are. It is Shambhala. It's everything. I mean, when you come to our home next month, you'll see that the home itself is called Shambhala.
Shambhala.
And it is just it's a coincidence that the pyramid also was named as Shambhala by a totally different, it just happened that way. But we know there are no coincidences. So.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Yep, most welcome. And yeah, I'll come again to Dallas. It's my wish, we'll do at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, sir. Yeah. So I will definitely connect with you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sharmaji.
Thank you, Sharma sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
So I
thank you.